Hello from Level Agency. Today let's talk measurement. Here are 4 tips to make sure you're setting the right KPIs for your campaign. I'm Patrick Van Gorder. I'm Senior Vice President here at Level Agency, and we're going to talk about KPIs, or Key Performance Indicators. More specifically, how to choose the right ones for your campaign. Let's get started. Tip number 1. Choose KPIs that are appropriate for the campaign's position in the sales funnel. Now, we're a direct response agency, which means that we're not typically that interested in things like clicks and impressions. When we can, we want to get down to sales and revenue. When a campaign's primary goal is awareness or reach, we'll look at things like impressions, clicks, cost per click, click-through rate, even video completions to tell us how well our campaign is resonating with the target audience. For example, a campaign announcing a new product might not produce any direct sales, so we'll look at things like click-through rate, cost per click, and impression reach to tell us if our awareness marketing is doing its job. These metrics become basically meaningless for lower funnel campaigns. For campaigns like trade name search or retargeting, we care a lot less about things like click-through rate and cost per click, and a lot more about things like conversion rate and cost per sale. This is because we can afford to pay a lot more for a click if it's somebody who's actively searching for my brand or who has already engaged with a product website. Tip number 2, be aware of the limitations in your own data structure. As we've discussed in the past, Level Agency uses the client system of record whenever possible for setting KPIs. This is great when the client system of record works as it should, when the CRM and the marketing automation platform and the advertising platforms themselves all talk to each other and pass information between one another. But that's not always the case. If your systems aren't talking to each other, if we're not passing UTM parameters or other advertising identifiers from the advertising into the sales platform or the CRM, we can't use those metrics as KPI. That's why it's so important to set up your tracking so that it's doing that. If you're not storing information from your advertising campaigns in your CRM, in your sales platform, or in your other advertising system of record, you should be. We might do a video on this topic later, but in the meantime, talk to your agency partner or your internal marketing team about how you can store things like UTM parameters in your system of record. Tip number 3, choose KPIs that operate on a reasonable time scale. Even if your campaign goals are tied to revenue or other direct sales KPI, if you have a long sales cycle, 6, 8, 12 months, it can be really hard to use those metrics to optimize an advertising campaign. My clients with sales cycles like that, often in B2B or high-value B2C, can't afford to wait 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months to optimize a campaign. So we have to go up funnel and find directional KPI that will tell us what the sales will likely be in 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months. If this describes your business, look for leading indicators of future pipeline value. Things like opportunities, sales qualified leads, or marketing qualified leads, and use those as your optimization KPI. And finally, tip number 4, evaluate and optimize. Once you've established good KPIs and benchmarks or targets that tell you how you're doing against each of those KPIs, it's time to set up a regular reporting schedule. Remember, KPIs are only good if they're useful. This means that you need to track your progress against them and the actions that are coming out of those meetings on a consistent basis. Are you hitting your benchmarks? Are you hitting your targets? Is the forecast that you've put together as part of your marketing planning what's actually happening out there now that the rubber is hitting the road? I would suggest meeting weekly or bi-weekly with key stakeholders in the marketing project and then distributing the report and the action items from that meeting to a larger group of stakeholders. That lets you make sure that the message and the actions that come out of those meetings are distributed to the right people in the organization and in your partner organizations. That's it. Those are 4 tips to choose the right KPIs and then use the right KPIs to make your marketing campaigns more effective. My name is Patrick Van Gorder. I'm Senior Vice President here at Level Agency. Thanks for watching.